Welcome to my channel Coach IQ. We do the first lesson, resources and development. We do the part of land degradation and soil erosion. What is land degradation? Land degradation is when your quality of land has deteriorated, is not of a very good quality. So when you continuously use land for a long period of time without making efforts or without taking steps to conserve it and to manage it, your land gets degraded, and the repercussions, the consequences on the society and on the environment are quite immense. Now when you think about what causes land degradation, you have several points. The first point is that your mining sites where you do the mining of minerals, they are abandoned. Abandoned is just left. So mining sites are abandoned after the excavation, that is the digging work is done. So the digging work is done and the mining sites are just left without taking proper care of it. So this leaves scars and traces of overburdening. You know that the work has been done, but efforts have not been made to bring the land back to its earlier quality. Second point, wherever there are mining activities, very often a lot of trees are cut. So deforestation due to mining has also led to land degradation, and this is in Jharkhand, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, you see this happening. The third point is overgrazing in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra. When there is overgrazing, what happens is there is no much grass or small shrubs, so you don't have roots to bind the soil. That leads to land degradation. Fourth is over irrigation in Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh. Over irrigation, not irrigation, but over irrigation leads to waterlogging. Waterlogging again has two consequences which are not good, and that is your increases. What does it increase? The alkalinity and salinity of the soil. That is, the salt content of the soil will increase, which is not good. Then you have mineral processing. If you see certain minerals, like you take your limestone for the cement industry, you take calcite and soapstone for your ceramic industry. Ceramic is where you make your tiles and your sanitary ware and your wash basins. So grinding of limestone, soapstone, calcite generates a lot of dust in the atmosphere. Where will this dust go? It goes and settles on the land. When it settles on the land, the infiltration of water into the soil, into this land, into the soil gets retarded, means becomes slow. The next point is industrial effluents. They are just discharged without any treatment, and this leads to your water pollution and your land pollution. So these are the reasons for your land degradation. Now of course land degradation is there, we have seen all these factors, but there has to be a way of controlling it. How will you control this land degradation? One is afforestation, that is plant more trees. Second is control the grazing activities. If the grazing activities are controlled, you have roots which will bind the soil. Then control the mining activities. Then have more shelter belts. Stabilize the sand dunes by growing more thorny bushes so that your land does not get degraded. Then whenever you discharge your industrial effluents, discharge and disposal, you have to discharge them. There's no two ways about it. But when you do this, do it after proper treatment. Don't discharge them directly. Go through the process of proper treatment, and this will surely lessen the water pollution, the soil pollution in your industrial areas, in suburban areas. One more thing that can be done is management of wastelands. that is proper managing of rocky, barren and arid lands. So in this way we can control land degradation. Now we speak about soil erosion. The denudation of the soil cover and the subsequent washing down is called soil erosion. Now this process of formation and erosion usually goes hand in hand, but this balance sometimes, very often in fact, gets disturbed. One is by human activities like deforestation, construction, mining, overgrazing, and sometimes due to natural forces, the action of the natural forces like of wind, water, glaciers. Now we talk about types of soil erosion. There are different types of soil erosion. The first one is gully erosion. What is gully erosion? When running water cuts through the clay soil, deep channels are formed, and this makes the land unfit for cultivation. These are called bad lands, and in the chambals they are called ravines. So when running water, remember the water has to be running, not still. So when running water cuts through which type of soil? The soil is clay soil. When running water cuts through clay soil, channels are formed, and these channels are called gullies, and the land is unfit for cultivation. So your keywords are running water and clay soil. Next comes your sheet erosion. When water flows down a slope over a large area, your sheet erosion is done and the top layer of the soil gets washed off. So water flows as a sheet over either a large area or maybe down a slope, and your top layer of the soil gets washed off. Third is wind erosion. Here the loose soil, here the key word is loose. When loose soil gets blown off from the flat land or your hilly land, it is called wind erosion. The last one is defective methods of farming. When you don't farm in the right way, that is plowing up and down the slope. Like if this is your slope and you keep plowing up and down the slope, what happens is deep channels are formed, and due to this the flow of water becomes very fast and your soil erosion is caused. Now what steps can be taken to avoid soil erosion? The first one is contour plowing. That is, you plow along the contours, so the flow of water down the slope becomes lesser. So that is your first point. Second is terrace cultivation. Here steps are cut on the slope. So on the slope you will cut steps. Again the flow of water becomes less down the slopes. In India it's practiced in western and central Himalayas. You have to remember west and central Himalayas. The third way to stop soil erosion is strip cropping. That is, a large field is divided into strips, and between the crops you have grass planted. When this grass is planted, rows of grass is planted, it will break the force of the wind. The fourth way to restrict soil erosion is by planting shelter belts, having shelter belts. That is, you plant lines and lines of trees and that will create a shelter belt. This is done in India in your western part, in the deserts, in order to stabilize the desert and the sand dunes. Now here what you have to remember is, how do you restrict soil erosion in the hilly areas? You write about contour plowing and you write about terrace cultivation. Then if it comes, how can you prevent soil erosion maybe in the coastal areas? Coastal areas would be strip cropping, because coastal areas it's always windy. So here you are having that part breaking the force of the wind, the grass will break it. And in the desert area is your shelter belts. I really hope this topic has become clearer. And if you have any queries, please post them in the comments below. And do like the video, share it with your friends and classmates, and subscribe to my channel to continue studying with Coach IQ.